One might hypothesize that in these times of economic uncertainty, Americans would be pulling back from giving money to charitable organizations, but not necessarily the case. In our annual update of charitable giving, look what we found. First of all, have you in the last 12 months donated money to a religious organization? 59% of Americans say yes, down just a few points from last year, but about on par with where we found it, for example, back in 2003 and 2001. So not a big decline in donating to religious organizations. And look at this one. Have you donated money to any other charitable cause other than religion? That number's at 75%. Let me pause for a moment. That means 3/4 of Americans have given money to some charitable cause other than a religion, so they tell us within the last 12 months, and that number's absolutely on par with what we saw in 2005 and a little up from 2003, down slightly from 2001. So, in a nutshell, no sign whatsoever in the broad sense that Americans tell us they're less likely to be giving to charitable organizations. Now, to be sure, the amount they give could be less. In other words, I may have given $1 million last year to a charity and this year give $500,000. I could still say yes to the question, but at least we know that the overall act of giving certainly hasn't dropped off. A couple of other things we found in the survey. We asked, have you volunteered your time to a religious group or organization? And you might be interested to know 43% of Americans say yes to that. That's a big number. Half, 50% of Americans tell us they have volunteered their time for any other charitable cause. These are high numbers. 1 out of 2 Americans say they have volunteered in some fashion or other for a non-religious charitable cause. And again, those numbers certainly haven't changed much at all from the other times we've asked those this decade. We do summarize all this, and let me end by saying this. 84% of Americans net say they have donated money either to a religious organization or a charitable cause, and 64%, almost 2/3 of us, say we have volunteered time for some charitable organization. So all these are very positive numbers, showing that Americans continue to be a giving people. And again, to stress the major point here, despite the economic turmoil in which we find ourselves today, we're not finding any indication in our data of a dramatic drop-off in Americans donating time or money to charitable organizations. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Editor-in-Chief of the Gallup poll.